Guten Tag! Ako po ang inyong Consul General dito sa Frankfurt, Marie-Yvette Banzon Avalos. Tayo ay nandito po ngayon sa tambayang may programa para sa mga Filipino at Filipino-Germans, TTPM Act, our advocacy channel. Tara, OL na tayo!
Nandiyan na pala kayo mga best friend. Di ba lahat bago na eh. Huwag tayo pumunta dyan.
Politics. Mamaya na yan. Another podcast. Pwede mo ako tawagan sa politics.
Ito pa rin tayo sa ating coffee time. Yan, yung sponsor natin ngayon. Saan si best friend Ren. Yan, sponsor ni Ren.
Nandito pa rin tayo sa ating tambayang may programa,
TTPM Act, our advocacy channel.
Oh, napabangoy kape?
Napabangoy kape? May kape pa ba kayo?
Tuloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Sophie and me.
Ituloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with best friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with Best Friend Sophie with me.
Padayon sa tapangape. Naapa si best friend Toffee, oh. Best friend Toffee, hello!
Mag-OL tayo.
Tara, OL na tayo, mga best friend.
Tara mga best friend, mag-OL tayo.
Magandang araw, tara OL tayo, mga best friend.
Tara na. Best friend, OL tayo. Tara.
Ay pwede pa rin ngayon ang banding natin noon. Ay pwede pa rin ngayon. Tara, OL tayo.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day to all sa ating mga best friend. This is your ConverQuestion host, Professor Jon Montes, that will be ushering you to another interesting night, day, afternoon, morning, saan man kayong nanggagaling ngayon. And we are now doing our pilot episode for this. And we'll be doing this every month. So we'll be having 2 airing and programs every month. At ngayon nga po, we are very fortunate because we shall be beginning with a very important topic. Okay? There was a saying na that the hardest battle is between what you know in your head and what you feel in your heart. Nako, pag ito ang nagtatalo, yung puso at isip, sino ba talaga ang dapat na sundin natin? Magi-spark to ng napakaraming mga discussion or debate. And with that, yung last time sa aming preview episode, tinakal natin because of the buwan ng wika, we tackled about language. Today naman, language within ourselves. And that's the language of the mind and the language of the heart. Yes, that's true. And for this pilot episode, we have invited a very credible and a very special person will be sharing with us and will be our main resource for this topic of the battle of the heart and the mind. She is a certified human resource associate, also a certified inspirational speaker, a licensed teacher and psychometrician, psychologist, psychological first aid provider, and also a book author of various books like developmental psychology, and also authored some textbook in philosophy of man, and she has assisted several writing endeavors both for textbooks and research. And she is a true blood scholar because she had her bachelor's and master's degree in psychology and clinical psychology at the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. Of course, siya po rin ang director ng Excelsius. I hope I got it right. Hindi ko na po patatagalin. And I would like to present to you ang guest ko po ngayong gabi sa ating pilot. Walang iba po kundi si Dr. Mary Esther Claire Perez-Torres or si Dr. MEC. Hello, Dr. MEC.
Hello, good evening po sa inyo.
Good evening po, and
salamat
thank you po for giving us your time to be here in ConverQuestion. We are doing this also to reach to various people all over the world, hindi lang po sa Pilipinas, lalo na sa mga kababayan natin. And we are sharing several important topics. At ngayon nga po, napili po natin because of this is also a suggested topic. Uunahin daw po natin bago natin talakayan iba't ibang topic. Pag-usapan muna na po natin how do we decide using our mind and heart. Okay, siguro Doc Mec, can you may want to open or say hi to our all viewers and all the people are watching our show, Doc Mec.
Ayan, no? Maraming salamat po first of all sa pag-invite sa akin dito sa inyong program. And I'm very honored to be here tonight, no? And be part of your pilot episode. So, kumusta po sa inyong lahat? Sa lahat ng tagapakinig, mga students, mga colleagues natin, sa aking family, no? Maraming salamat na kayo ay sumusubaybay dito sa program ni Sir Jon. Thank you po.
Siguro very quick question, Dr. Mick. Ano po ba ang dapat na sundin? Isip po ba or puso? At paano po natin to wini-weigh according po sa inyong clinical or even personal po na perspective?
So first of all, maybe we can give a brief background, no? Pag-usapan natin yung physiological connection ng puso at ng brain, no? Syempre, alam naman natin na physiologically, they are connected in such a way na yung heart natin yung nagpa-pump ng blood throughout our body, which includes our brain. And syempre, because of that, nagkakaroon ng adequate blood flow, which carries yung oxygen natin and nutrients na kailangan ng brain natin to function properly. And syempre, kung magkakaroon ng disruption do sa flow na yon, it might affect, no, yung cognitive ability ng isang tao. Kung ang pag-uusapan natin is science, no? Okay. But of course, if we're going to talk about yung emotional and psychological connection ng heart and ng brain natin, madalas nating i-associate or i-connect yung emotion natin dun sa expression ng from the bottom of my heart, diba? But actually, it is the brain that actually tells us, no, kung ano yung nararamdaman natin. It controls our emotion, it controls our mood, ayan, our feelings, no, towards another person. It gives us the decision of whom to choose, o sino man yung gusto nating lifetime partner or jowa, diba? So, yan.
So, yung expression na bottom of my heart, idiomatic expression lang. Pero
idiomatic expression.
It's really the bottom of your brain or your mind.
Yeah, or bottom of your hypothalamus.
Hypothalamus, yeah.
Also, yung heart rate variability na tinatawag natin kasi nagkakaroon ng variation sa heartbeat natin. May mga tao na mas mabilis yung heartbeat kaysa sa iba. May mga taong mabagal yung heartbeat. And because of that, this is closely connected sa ating stress, no, sa ating emotion, no. Akala natin pagka mabilis yung tibok ng puso natin, ano na, siya na yun, the one na, kinikilig na. But actually, the heart rate variability is really associated with how we can better regulate our emotion and cognition. Ayan. So masasabi natin na there are so many ways on how we can describe the connection between the heart and the mind. No? They are really interconnected. Yung emotional state natin, how it can impact our physical health, no? Yung stress, yung relaxation techniques na ginagawa natin that improves our mental well-being. Yan. So all of which itong mga ginagawa natin na activities helps both our heart and mind. It's not really the heart that decides, no? We siguro na associate lang talaga natin because we feel na ito yung tumitibok kapag nakikita natin yung gusto natin. But it's not really the one that decides, no? Of course, our eyes stimulated by the vision or by the image that we are seeing. So the brain is interpreting what is our eyes is telling us or showing us. Yung stimulus na yon. And that interpretation leads to perception that, oh, I like this person. Okay? It's not really, tinitibukan ako ng puso, ibig sabihin, in love na ako. No, it's not really that. Mm-mm.
So, yung palang notion na na-attract ako, or nai-in love ako, nagkaka-crush ako, or nag-infatuation ako, ang may kagagawan talaga nun, yung isip. Kaya pwede mong sabihin, iniibig kita sa kaibuturan ng aking isip.
Yes,
parang
that's right.
It's not kaibuturan ng aking puso kasi si puso nagpa-pump lang naman ng blood pero hindi siya nagde-decide. Nagde-decide talaga at ng
Guten Tag! Ako po ang inyong Consul General dito sa Frankfurt, Marie-Yvette Banzon Abalos. Tayo ay nandito po ngayon sa tambayang may programa para sa mga Filipino at Filipino-Germans, TTPM Act, our advocacy channel. Tara, OL na tayo!
Nandiyan na pala kayo mga best friend. Di ba lahat bago na eh. Kaya huwag tayo pumunta dyan.
Politics mo. Mamaya na yan. Another podcast, pwede mo ako tawagan sa politics.
Ito pa rin tayo sa ating coffee time. Yan, yung sponsor natin ngayon. Kung saan si best friend Ren. Yan, sponsor ni Ren.
Nandito pa rin tayo sa ating tambayang may programa,
TTPM Act,
our advocacy channel.
Oh, napabangoy kape?
Napabangoy kape? May kape pa ba kayo?
Tuloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Tofi and me.
Ituloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with best friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with Best Friend Tofi with me.
Padayon sa tapangapi. Naapa si best friend Tofi, oh. Best friend Tofi, hello!
Masaya, makibati, sa harap, OL tayo every Sunday. Mabuhay ang mga Pilipino!
Tara, OL tayo.
Guten Tag! Ako po ang inyong Consul General dito sa Frankfurt, Marie-Yvette Banzon Abalos. Tayo ay nandito po ngayon sa tambayang may programa para sa mga Filipino at Filipino-Germans, TTPM Act, our advocacy channel. Tara, OL na tayo!
Oh, nandiyan na pala kayo mga best friend. Di ba lahat bago na eh. Huwag tayo pumunta dyan.
Politics. Mamaya rin. Another podcast. Pwede mo ako tawagan sa politics.
Ito pa rin tayo sa ating coffee time. Yan, yung sponsor natin ngayon. Saan si best friend Ren. Yan, sponsor ni Ren.
Nandito pa rin tayo sa ating tambayang may programa,
TTPM Act,
our advocacy channel.
Oh, napabangoy kape?
Napabangoy kape?
May kape pa ba kayo?
Tuloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Tofi and me.
Ituloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with best friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with Best Friend Tofi with me.
Padayon sa tapangapi. Naapa si best friend Tofi, oh. Best friend Tofi, hello!
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, so I think we can now open the floor. Mukhang may marami na po tayong ilang mga kasama po dito sa program that would like to ask some questions. So maybe we can have them and we can identify kung sino po yung pwedeng magbigay ng ilang katanungan about our topic for today. We have here a student, a graduate of communication graduate from La Consolacion College, si Miss Faye. We also have a professor and a teacher, also a former seminarian and a ethics and religion teacher in our school, La Consolacion College, Mr. Ritz Espejo. And we have another communication graduate and now a social media manager, si Miss Sheena Maglaya. Sino ba ang una nating punta tayo dun muna sa isang perspective ng isang medyo graduate lang. Okay, Faye. Si Faye ay isang estudyante. And I know, are you in a relationship right now? You are, right? Tama ba ako? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. I'm now in a relationship.
Okay. So, do you have any interesting question that you would like to ask Dr. MEC?
Yes po, sir. Actually, after hearing what Doc said, pero Doc, yun nga po, nasabi niyo po kanina na the heart does not deal with our emotions, but it is our brain instead. So, bakit kaya na-associate ang heart kapag sinabi po nating emotion?
Kasi, na-associate siya because when we feel something or when we are faced with stress, for example, no, na nababaga ka, nag-worry ka sa isang tao, no, the brain requires more oxygen. That's why your heart pumps faster, no? So, tumitibok ng mas mabilis, nagpa-palpitate yung heart mo. Kaya, akala natin, yung nararamdaman natin pag-worry is because of this, because of the heart, no? But it's actually not. So, yun, kaya na akala natin, kapag ka-emotional ka, it is the responsibility of the heart. Mapapansin natin kapag
Okay.
tayo very sad o kaya,
Sinisisi
oo,
natin ang puso pero hindi naman pala siya
oo,
dapat ang sisihin, ano?
oo,
Hindi naman pala dapat gano'n. Okay.
yes,
Sige,
it's
Doc Meg,
not.
continue po.
Kasi, although yung process ng emotion and cognition is talagang nag-i-intertwine sila, no? Hindi natin mapaghihiwalayan. Kasi it's in the brain is responsible for both function, no? For the regulation of the emotion and the cognition. That is why yung heart natin, nagre-respond lang siya based on the need of the mind or the brain. Yun.
Tanungin naman natin si Professor and si Sir Ritz Espejo. Sir Ritz, pag siya ang nagtuturo, lagi niyang ini-incorporate yung value of love, loving. Sir Ritz, would you like to validate or verify something to Dr. Meg about what we are teaching, especially the value of loving and thinking, Sir Ritz?
Okay, I am intently listening to the talk of our guest, special guest. And it seems it says that the mind controls the heart. But in the legal as well as philosophical or ethical dimensions, minsan napapawalang sala yung ibang tao sa kanilang gawa kasi sabi niya, nagdilim ang aking paningin. And that's why, who controls who? And that's the reason why minsan napapawalang sala yung iba. Wala siyang kasalanan kasi hindi naman niya ang nag-control sa kanya ay yung kanyang your will. Sa philosophy o sa ethics, yung will is related with the heart. Kaya lang yung talk kasi ni ma'am, it's simply physiological. But when you raise that to philosophy and theology, it is not as simple as that because the emotion, if unchecked by the mind, is stronger than the mind. And vice versa, if the mind is so strong, it controls the emotion. That's why, for example, ito gagamit akong salitang parang vulgar, no, just to emphasize.
Okay.
Halimbawa, ikaw sa libog, ang lakas. Pero pag yung value system mo ay ganito, kaya nang i-control yon. Yung physical dimension. Pero bakit may mga taong they cannot control yung mga physical or emotions or yung ganon, yung love or yung mga passions, yung mga about the emotions. So, parang sinasabi niya, ma'am, ultimately, the mind controls the body. But my point is, not all the time.
Okay. Your view on that, Doc Meg, ano po ang inyong view
doon? I guess it's all the time, no? Kasi, again, maybe what Prof Ritz is saying is yung sa morality na yan, yung pinag-uusapan hindi na siya yung ano, but still, our sense of morality is brought about by the mind. Our emotion is brought up, is controlled by our brain. Nothing else, no? Hindi talaga, if we're going to talk about it, no, when it comes to intuition, gut feelings, yan, no, or these are psychosomatic effects, no, yung bigla or yung mga impulses natin, these are psychosomatic effects of how our brain responds to the different situations or various situations that are happening before us. For example, kasi, again, maybe what Prof Ritz is saying is yung sa morality na yan, yung pinag-uusapan hindi na siya yung ano, but still, our sense of morality is brought about by the mind. Our emotion is brought up, is controlled by our brain. Nothing else, no? Hindi talaga, if we're going to talk about it, no, when it comes to intuition, gut feelings, yan, no, or these are psychosomatic effects, no, yung bigla or yung mga impulses natin, these are psychosomatic effects on
Okay.
of how our brain responds to the different situations or various situations that are happening before us. For example, may naglalakad ka sa madilim na alley, tulad ng sinasabi ni Sir, no? Na nagdilim yung paningin mo dahil naglalakad ka sa madilim na alley, biglang may nang hold up sa'yo, no? A robber approach you, and therefore, yung magnanakaw na yon, wala kang maibigay, no? Kung hindi ka magbibigay ng kahit ano, papatayin ka niya. And your brain, syempre, will process, no? What am I going to do? And still, in that moment, no, your brain will release what adrenaline or epinephrine, which is a neurotransmitter released by the neurons, which is responsible for us to respond to these kinds of situation, whether we are going to fight or to fly away from the scenario. Kasi, again, you are not responding based on what your heart is telling you. The heart will not tell you anything. The brain will tell you that, hey, you are in danger. Therefore, you have to do something about it. Are you going to fight? Okay. So, the fact that you are defending yourself is the decision, again, of the brain. Okay? Sometimes kasi, it's again, no, the emotion is associated with the heart because your heart responds really fast, no, when the when the situation calls for it. Kaya tayo nagpapalpitate, kaya tayo sobrang lungkot, sobrang galit, sobrang takot, bumibilis yung tibok ng puso natin.
Pero
Because,
sorry, Doc Mec, is the trigger, is the response of the heart also initiated by our mind? Hindi siya nag-initialize. Nanggagaling pa rin dun sa ating sa ating nervous.
That's correct. Yes,
So hindi siya yung siya nagsisimula, hindi. So how can you lang po siguro by the way, for those who are watching, even though either live or those who will be we can read it on air and we will be addressing it. Siguro, Doc Mec, how do you now justify or help, maybe assist or validate tinuturo ng ating mga magulang, ng mga teachers natin, magmahal ka, gamitin mo ang puso mo. Pag minahal mo, ito ang gagawin mo. So, pero scientifically, hindi naman pala talaga yun ang kundi yung isip din ang nagsasabi na mahalin mo ang isang tao, bigyan mo ng pagpapalaga. Now, how do you make it? Is that more of a symbol thing, a symbolical, or
maybe we can say it is symbolical or misinformation on the part of the society, that they are telling us that this is how we should see the heart and the mind, no? But
Guten Tag! Ako po ang inyong Consul General dito sa Frankfurt, Marie-Yvette Banzon Abalos. Tayo ay nandito po ngayon sa tambayang may programa para sa mga Filipino at Filipino-Germans, TTPM Act, our advocacy channel. Tara, OL na tayo!
Nandiyan na pala kayo mga best friend. eh, 'di ba lahat bago na eh.
Oo,
Kaya huwag tayo pumunta diyan.
Politics. Mamaya na yan. Another podcast. Pwede mo ako tawagan sa politics.
Ito pa rin tayo sa ating coffee time. Yan, yung sponsor natin ngayon. Kung saan si Best Friend Ren. Yan, sponsor ni Ren.
Nandito pa rin tayo sa ating tambayang may programa
PTPM Act.
Our advocacy.
Na mahalin mo ang isang tao, bigyan mo ng pagpapalaga. Now, how do you make it? Is that more of a symbol thing, a symbolical, or
maybe we can say it is symbolical or misinformation on the part of the society, that they are telling us that this is how we should see the heart and the mind, no? But defy it as well, no? Maybe we are referring to logic and emotion. Which are you going to follow? It's not really literally the heart or the mind, but the logic or the emotion. Which are you going to follow? So are you going to think logically? Are you going to use your left brain? Or are you going to be emotional about your decision? Are you going to use your right brain? So it's not really, it has nothing to do with the heart, but the emotion and the logic.
okay, kasi nga yung right lobe and left lobe, the one handles the logic, the other handles the emotional aspect of yung emotional aspect, yun yung parang na-incorporate natin sa heart. Pero kung tutusin, that is the other side of the brain who is really doing the decision when it comes
That
to
is
emotion.
correct po. That is really correct. That is why siguro if thankful tayo sa mga ganitong program because it educates and inform people how we should properly approach notions like this.
Okay. All right.
Sir John,
yes,
may gusto
yes, Sir
pa
Ritz,
akong
may follow-up. Yes po,
i-clarify.
Sir Ritz, ano po ang inyong...
Ito, nababaguhan ako dun sa explanation ni Ma'am, no? Ni Doc. Dati kasi sa philosophy, there is a distinct from the intellect and the will.
Yes,
So
that's
the
right.
intellect is the power to think, so to rationalize everything. And the other one is the will, which we associate with the heart. My point is, sabi ni Ma'am, the mind ultimately decides everything. Pero sa akin mukhang, I still believe in the balance of power. That's why when your willpower, kaya mayroon tayong tinatawag willpower, overpowers your mind, yun sa nakakagawa ka ng masamang bagay na ayaw mong gawin, pero nagawa mo because their mind did not rationalize well because it is overpowered by the will. And that is the reason yung iba na sinasabi, hindi niya kasalanan yun. Halimbawa, umuwi ako sa bahay, I saw my wife na may lalaking on top of her. So, may galit and all the anger, may emotions, with all the blood vessels, whatever comes there, my mind did not work. What worked is my passion, my senses, and it overpowers. And that's why yung mga legal aspect na minsan napapawalang sala yung mga lalaki o yung whatever happens o na-murder niya, napatay niya yung isa because of that. And that's the reason why, because if the will is not, or the senses is not controlled by the mind, sometimes it's more powerful. Taong madalas magalit, very sensitive, mamaya galit na. Pero yung ibang tao naman, ang ganda ng mindset, yung mind niya, kahit anong gawin mo, hindi mo siya mapagalit because malakas yung kanyang, yung mind. Pero other persons, very evident that the physical ones, your emotion, controls you. Kaya yung ibang daming mga nagagawang masama na wala na sa isip kasi the emotions is stronger than the mind. So para sa akin, they are independent. It depends who is stronger as far as the situation is concerned.
Okay, that was raised now by Sir Ritz. Technically, coincidentally, si Doc MEC ngayon is also taking law, right?
Yes.
So, etong si Doc MEC, meron siyang psychology ngayon, naglo-law siya. She is also taking her PhD. So, napakalawak ng kanyang kaalaman. Paano ba natin yun, the one that sa Mr. Espes, how do we reconcile that, Doc Meg? Especially when
Yes.
it comes to legal aspect or the will, what is it all about if we will be
Yes.
basing it really on ano?
Well, actually, I truly understand what Sir Ritz is saying, no? But then again, the will is what is the other term for will? The choice, no? Volition. The faculty
Volition.
of volition is controlled by the brain, which tells us that it involves our ability to make decisions, set intentions, no? And these exercise free will as again controlled by the brain. Okay? We are not saying, actually, I totally agree that there is a difference between the intellect and the will. By nature, the intellect, yun nga yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? Logic and emotion, no? There are two separate hemispheres controlling these things, no? The the logic is controlled by the left hemisphere and the emotion is controlled by the right hemisphere of the brain. Again, controlled by the brain. No, that's why sometimes just like what Sir Ritz is saying, your will is becoming stronger. Your volition is becoming stronger. That's true because there are people who have more dominant right hemisphere than the other. Okay? So that is also correct. But again, it's not really the heart that controls the will. It is the right hemisphere. And the one that controls the intellect or the logic or the cognitive intellectual faculty of your brain is the left brain. Kaya nga po, tama po yung sinasabi nyo, no? Hindi ko sinasabi na mali yung may mga nangyayari po talaga na mas na-overpower ng emotion natin, yung ating intellect. That is very true. But I have to contradict the fact that yung point na yung heart ang nagko-control ng will because it is not what science is telling us or it is not what psychology is telling us.
Oh, nagkakainitan po. Masyado pong mainit na po ang ating discussion. Tutuloy po natin yan after some words from our friends.
Guten Tag! Ako po ang inyong Consul General dito sa Frankfurt, Marie-Yvette Banzon Avalos. Tayo ay nandito po ngayon sa tambayang may programa para sa mga Filipino at Filipino-Germans, TTPM Act, our advocacy channel. Tara, OL na tayo!
Nandiyan na pala kayo mga best friend. Di ba lahat bago na eh. Huwag tayo pumunta dyan.
Politics mo. Mamaya rin. Another podcast. Pwede mo ako tawagan sa politics.
Ito pa rin tayo sa ating coffee time. Yan, yung sponsor natin ngayon. Si best friend Ren. Yan, sponsor ni Ren.
Nandito pa rin tayo sa ating tambayang may programa,
TTPM Act,
our advocacy channel.
Oh, napabangoy kape?
Napabangoy kape? May kape pa ba kayo?
Tuloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Tofi and me.
Ituloy na natin ang Coffee with Best Friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with best friend Sophie and me.
Coffee with Best Friend Tofi with me.
Padayon sa tapangapi. Naapa si best friend Tofi, oh. Best friend Tofi, hello!
Hello, mga best-friend! We are AG! Makisaya, makibati sa Hotel tayo every Sunday! Mabuhay ang mga Pilipino!
Tara, OL tayo.
let me ask muna si Shane. Shane has encountered also stress, depression, and even some mental issues. If sorry if I have to open that. Do you want to ask something that's somehow related to your experience, Shane? Sheena is a social media manager and she has been handling several stress and even several questions almost every day. Ano experience mo dito, Shane? At ano yung pwede mong ma-erase dito sa ating discussion?
Ayun, so based on the discussion earlier po, diba? So yung deciding with the heart is just a metaphor with deciding with emotions. So with that being said, babalik lang ako dun sa pinakaunang question ni Sir John kanina, which is how do you decide with your logical option and your emotional side?
Okay. How will you decide, no? Ang ganda ng question na yon, no? You have to balance things. Maybe you can write it down what are the pros and the cons, no? By measuring that or by balancing these things, no? Ano kaya yung pag siya yung pinili ko, ano yung magiging benefit nito sa akin, no? Magiging happy ba ako? Magiging secure ba ako? Magiging etc. etc. So you have to weigh things down, no? The pros and cons, write them down, no? Kasi if we are going to decide impulsively, no, and say na ay ang gwapo niya, siya na talaga. Okay. Kahit na hindi ko pa siya kilala, you have to take your time to think, no? Parang kapag umikot ka ng 100 times at di ka nahilo, no? Baka nga. But what I'm trying to say is, thinking takes time, and you really have to take your time. Do not decide on an impulse. Do not decide at the height of your emotion. Do not decide when you're too happy, too sad, or too angry, because I'm assuring you, no, you will regret your decisions because after a while, you'll realize that your adrenaline is pushing you to make those decisions na hindi mo masyadong pinag-isipan. Also, pag na-measure mo na weightings mo na kung ano yung mas okay sa'yo, kung in favor ba to or not favorable for you, ayan, maybe you can consider, no, going towards that decision na, sige, tatry ko, no, sasagutin ko tong tao na to. And, syempre, there's no certainty in life, no? Life is full of uncertainties. Even love is a gamble. So, kapag sumugal ka doon sa tao na yon and naging masaya ka, good for you, jackpot ka. But if not, syempre, ganun talaga. It's 50% worth learning. Ganun talaga, no? Sa buhay natin, yung mga dumarating sa buhay natin gives us lessons. Yun lang yung pinaka-importante doon.
Wow. Alright. Nako, ang dami pa sigurong maari tayong i-address dito sa ating ConverQuestion yan. But we really have to limit muna our bibitinin natin ng konti kasi maybe we can have a part of this sometime, pero this sparks a very important discussion among us, no?
Yes.
Kasi nga, 'di ba, ang common natin. Nako. Okay, so meron ba tayong mga questions direct na pwedeng i-address or we'll just be pitching that? Okay. So in the meantime, Doc MEC, nako, we have really to cut this down muna po yung ating discussion ngayon. And maybe you thank you very much for all those perspective and views. As we end this, we have learned a very important aspect of understanding the heart and the mind. Maybe Doc MEC, maybe just give a very short a synthesis of what you were telling to all our viewers for tonight po, for today, Doc MEC.
Okay, so I hope that to balance everything, no? I mean, metaphorically speaking. And again, no, tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, when you are about to decide on something, you have to make out mo na lahat, no? Mineasure mo na yung pros and cons, so winning things down mo na. And if if things go well, good. If not, good pa rin. You are still a winner because you learned something from that experience.
All right. Dr. Mech, would you like to uh, to promote?
Okay, thank you po, Sir John, no. So, right now, ayan, ila-launch na po namin yung bagong book namin ni Dr. Pratik Rajan Munjakar, Finding Balance, Exploring Counseling and Psychotherapy. This is going to be launched on the 22nd of September. So, for those who are interested, I will update you. No, pina-finalize pa kasi yung cost ng book. But we're very excited about this. By the way, Dr. Pratik Rajan Munjikar is awarded, no, he's a multi-awarded scientist, counselor, and a very young guy with so many accomplishments and renowned internationally. And I'm very honored to be his co-author, no, dito sa book na to. Sobrang happy namin na na-produce namin siya together. And I guess it will also help a lot of people understand what counseling and psychotherapy is. Kasi minsan meron tayong mga expectations about counseling and how things work in therapy. No, so I guess this is a good book that will enlighten us and will help us become more open-minded about considering counseling and psychotherapy in the maybe in the future. Ayun po.
Yeah, Doc Beck, you'd like to also to share what Excel Shoes, your company organization is.
Okay. Excel Psychological Service is providing psychological services such as counseling and psychotherapy and psychiatric assistance because we also have partner psychiatrists who is in need of mental health assistance. So that's what we are doing, and we are providing affordable and quality services. So yun po, so those who are maybe in need and listening to this program, if you are looking for, mental health assistance, we're here to help.
All right. And this coming September 10, we are commemorating the National Suicide Prevention Day. No? And isa po kaya tinakal namin tong issue na to because we really have concern. Napakalaki po ng aming pagpapahalaga sa mental health. And we should really understand that mental health is just a complicated and a complex issue that we really have to address. Yung iba parang minamaliit, yung iba parang hindi naiintindihan. So I hope this program, understanding what the mind can do and what the heart is really doing in our system, would somehow be a guide for us to understand our personal self. And I would like to thank po lahat po ng ating mga visitors ngayon, kay Miss Shane, kay Miss Faye, kay Sir Ritz, even po kay Shane Lariscain, kay Miss Dis, kay Miss Lerma, at kay Sir Ron Mercedes. So thank you very much. So with that, thank you very much, Dr. Mech, and sharing your time and expertise with us. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, lahat ng mga ka-best friend, see you next time again as we have another important topic. At sabi nga natin, we really have to think twice because that's the most important that we do. Because it all functions, all the system of our body. So with that, your ConverQuestion for today is concluding. Thank you very much mga ka-best friend. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Goodbye!
Goodbye. Thank you po.